Julius and Keith to start with as we move into
Sure.
Tuesday for those two guys.
Well, I greatly appreciate everything they've done. Obviously, any college basketball player spends an extraordinary amount of time, with the team, working hard, lifting weights, practicing, and those guys have done everything very well and done everything right, and really appreciate them both. Julius is a great teammate. I mean, one of the best teammates we've had. Keith also a great teammate and one of the hardest workers we've ever had. So really appreciate everything that they've done for us.
How you guys, final game, obviously, you'd prefer not to play on Wednesday next week if you could avoid it. Did you address that issue?
A little bit, John. More so just really focusing on what we need to try to do here. We've played really well at home, and that's probably more important to us. This particular game, how we play at home, is critical to us. What happens with the rest of in the conference tournament, for better or for worse, has not been as much my focus as getting us ready for this game. So hopefully we can go out and play well, and have a really good game against a really good team.
Is it hard for the guys who aren't seniors not to look ahead to next week, tomorrow?
Yeah, I would think so. I think, on one hand, I think it's hard for these guys to know what's going on in the next minute. Another time, I think it's hard for them to see the future. But yeah, I think so. I mean, the conference tournament is so appealing, and it's March. There's some conference tournaments already have started, so it's exciting. And being there is exciting. Being in Brooklyn with the A10 teams is exciting. But I think Davidson's so good. I think that it's really has our attention. And as I said, our last home game was an incredible atmosphere, a great game, a great opponent. And we feel like we played really well and came up short. And hopefully we can duplicate that and come out on top tomorrow.
Why do y'all match up so well against Davidson?
Well, I don't know. I think partly we play very similar styles. Ball movement, player movement. I think what has been the difference for them, obviously, this year is they've had great defensive numbers, and our defense is improving, but not nearly good enough. And I think we've matched up with them because we've had a little bit, we've had some speed and some quickness advantages. I think we might have a little bit of that tomorrow, but I would say that has probably helped us as well as anything. And mainly, I think we've had good games because we're. When we play in practice, we play similarly to Davidson and vice versa. So hopefully we'll have a good matchup tomorrow.
You've had a big sample size of them since you played them last.
Yeah.
And they have you. How have they changed, if at all, and how have you guys changed, if at all?
Yeah, well, I would say before they were probably, this is a good one, because they were probably playing more multiple defenses, some 2-3 on makes, some man-to-man on misses. Now, recently, they've gone all man-to-man. We're playing more defenses now than they are. So I think that's probably the biggest change. Goodmanson is, I would think, the player of the year, or certainly one of the top 2 or 3 player of the year candidates. And Grady's a great player, and Frampton might be the best shooter. So they're really, really good, and I think have played with confidence as they should.
How do you manage anxiety, not only with the players, but just with everything that's on, not just tomorrow, but next week and
Sure.
and everything involved?
Yeah, I think I think just being as focused as we can. This is a job that requires a ton of attention to every single part. 15 players who each have 4 or 5 classes and have their weightlifting goals and what they need to do on the court and what they need to do off the court. And so there is a lot of time that's just focused on what those guys are doing and how they're getting better and taking care of them. So I would say that's the main thing, is just making sure we're focused and really alert to everything that's going on, which takes a lot of our energy.
With some of the young players, what do you kind of hope to impart as you go into this last stretch?
Yeah, well, just to continue to compete and get better, because you can. When you're a young player, you can get better, and we have 4 freshmen who have gotten a ton of really good minutes. They've gotten better, and when you're young, sometimes you're playing, and when you get a little bit older, you start competing, and you start thinking how to fake the guy out and not just run to your spot. You think about how to get positioning for rebounding before the ball is actually shot. All those little things that hopefully we're getting better and better at.
What do you feel?
I'm kind of bittersweet about it. It's exciting, of course, but I think it's going to be a really good game. I think we're going to play well. 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 I think we it's kind of weird, you know, because I feel like been here for the longest time. But yeah, I'm bittersweet about it.
Is there an extra sense of motivation or anxiety knowing what's in front of you that now you get a win tomorrow to avoid a Thursday game next week or a Wednesday game next week?
Yeah, I think all the guys are motivated. We talked about it yesterday. I was talking with Grant, and he talked about like how like no one wants to play on Wednesday, of course. So I think like not only myself but the guys are motivated.
You guys do well against Davidson. How come? What is it about the matchup?
I have no idea. That's a good question. I have no idea, but we always play well against them.
You guys have bounced back well all year, but maybe it seemed like a little bit more tough loss the other night, obviously. So how do you bounce back from that one when it seemed like maybe a little bit different feeling from that one?
I mean, just to take it game by game. The guys, like I said, I talked to Grant. It was a tough loss. I mean, we played against a good VCU team, good George Mason team, and then the UMass loss. I mean, it hurts, but we just have to go in and compete.
How mentally taxing is it when you get to this point of the season? Not this game, but the next game where it's lose and go home.
That's the way we just got to have that motivation. We know if we lose, we go home, like you said, and no one wants the season to end yet. So just having that motivation.